In this video, I'm going to show you 9 crops that thrive when planted in the fall, explain why I chose them for my garden, and demonstrate how to store and preserve them so your pantry stays stocked for months. The key is knowing your frost date, checking days to maturity, and working with what's available at your nurseries or by starting seeds indoors. Even here in Zone 9B where I'm located, cooler temps and shorter days still mean adjustments, but they also give crops like kale, spinach, carrots, and cabbage their best flavor. And if you're focused on self-reliance, fall planting is not just about today's harvest. It's about food security for the months ahead. Stick around until the end because I'll also share lessons learned from our summer garden which have helped shape our decisions for this fall's planting setup. So let's jump in. Before planting, we reset the garden by clearing the beds, adding the material to the compost, and topping off the soil where it's settled. Once we had the beds ready, we began planting. I would like to also point out that in this video we primarily use starters obtained from our local nurseries, but we also use seeds in a few instances. So here's what we planted. Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts thrive in cool weather and develop their best flavor after slight frost. The plants produce tall stalks lined with dozens of miniature cabbages, and once they start maturing, you can harvest them over several weeks. That maturity date is 90 to 100 days after transplanting from these 4-inch pot starters, which means I'll be looking at mid-December before my first harvest. They are slow to start, but they reward you with abundance. A single stalk can give you a pound or more of sprouts, and a small patch can provide several family meals. Fresh Brussels sprouts can be stored in a refrigerator for up to 2 weeks. For long-term storage, consider blanching and freezing them to last a whole year, fermenting them into a sauerkraut, or dehydrating or freeze-drying them for 6 months to a year of shelf stability. Before I proceed to the next item, I'd like to mention my chickens briefly. The chickens have settled in nicely to our setup, and they're producing roughly 1 egg per day per chicken. We regularly feed them leftover food items from our house, and they effectively compost for us, as we can shovel their droppings into our compost bin. If you haven't considered chickens before, I highly recommend them. Cabbage. Cabbage is one of the most dependable fall crops, producing dense, crisp heads in cool weather. From Copenhagen to Mammoth to red cabbages, full-size heads are ready in 70 to 90 days from transplanting. Smaller types like bok choy can be harvested in just 45 to 60 days, which means you can stagger your planting and always have something coming in. Abundance is one of the most significant advantages of cabbage. A single head can weigh 3 to 4 pounds, and each one can feed a family across multiple meals or be preserved for months. Whole heads with outer leaves intact will last 1 to 2 months in a cool place. Turn them into sauerkraut or kimchi for storage of 6 months to a year, or dehydrate shredded cabbage into a lightweight staple that can last nearly as long. Onions. Fall-planted onions, such as Sierra Blanca starters or bulb onions, begin by putting down roots in the fall, go dormant in winter, and can then surge forward in spring, producing bulbs by early summer. You should plant starter bulbs or sets, which are small onions instead of seeds at this point in the season. With 150 to 180 days of maturity, onions are a long play, but they pay off by bridging the gap between 1 year's pantry and the next. A small flat of starters can give you dozens of bulbs, making onions one of the most abundant crops in terms of return on investment. Cure onions in a dry, ventilated space for 2 to 3 weeks until the skins are papery. Properly stored, they last 3 to 6 months in a cool, dry spot. For even longer storage, dice and freeze them, dehydrate into flakes or powder, or freeze-dry them to last for years. Broccoli. Broccoli is a cool weather workhorse that rewards you with both the main harvest and bonus side shoots. Marathon broccoli typically produces its first head 60 to 70 days after transplanting and then keeps sending up smaller shoots for weeks afterward. Even a few plants can keep a family and fresh broccoli for a good stretch of the season. The abundance is steady rather than all at once, making it perfect for a fall kitchen. Fresh broccoli lasts about a week in the refrigerator. Blanching and freezing gives you 6 months to a year, while freeze-drying or dehydrating it into powder extends shelf life and adds versatility. Beets. Beets give you 2 harvests in one, sweet roots and tender greens. Most beets are ready in 50 to 70 days, though you can start pulling young greens much earlier. The cooler weather concentrates sugars, making fall beets sweeter than their summer counterparts. They are also an abundant crop for their footprint. A small patch can produce dozens of roots plus rounds of greens, giving you both bulk food and fresh nutrition. Beets can be stored for 1 to 3 months in a refrigerator or root cellar, provided they are properly trimmed. They pickle and can beautifully, keeping for a year or more, and they dehydrate or freeze-dry well, providing a shelf life of 6 to 12 months. Kale. Kale thrives in cool weather and is one of the most reliable greens that you can grow. From transplant, you'll be harvesting in 30 to 45 days, and as long as you keep taking outer leaves, the plant keeps producing. Cold weather actually sweetens kale, improving its flavor. And in terms of abundance, a half dozen plants can supply fresh greens week after week, giving you more than you might expect from a small space. Kale keeps about a week fresh. From long-term storage, blanch and freeze it for up to 8 months, dehydrate it into lightweight chips or powder for 6 to 12 months, or freeze-dry to last for years as a powder that can be added to soups, stews, or smoothies. Spinach. Spinach is one of the fastest fall crops, ready in 30 to 40 days from seed. It thrives in the cool, short days of fall, and a single planting can continue producing with cut and come again harvesting. Spinach is a low footprint, high abundance crop, producing bowl after bowl of leaves in a very small space. It is one of the most efficient greens for a fall garden. Fresh spinach lasts just 3 to 5 days. Blanch and freeze for 6 months or more, dehydrate to grind into a powder for soups, sauces, and smoothies, or freeze dry for the longest storage while retaining nutrition. Root crops. Carrots and parsnips. Carrots and parsnips thrive in cool weather and actually become sweeter after a frost. Most varieties take 70 to 100 days to mature from seed, but once they're ready, they can be left in the ground for weeks or months under mulch. Abundance is where they shine. A single seed package can yield dozens of pounds of roots, and because they can be left in place until you need them, they become a living food bank in your soil. Stored in a refrigerator or root cellar, they last 1 to 2 months. Blanching and freezing extends shelf life to a year, while pressure canning provides long-term stability. Dehydrating or freeze-drying makes them lightweight and shelf-stable for periods ranging from 6 months to several years. Garlic. Garlic is a true set-it-and-forget-it fall crop. Plant individual cloves in fall, mulch them, and by next summer, you'll be pulling full bulbs. They also send up scapes in spring, giving you an extra harvest before the bulbs mature. Garlic delivers abundance in 2 ways: bulbs for storage and scapes for fresh eating. From 1 pound of seed garlic, you can grow 4 to 5 pounds of bulbs, making it a multiplying crop that pays you back year after year. Repeat the cycle, and you can quadruple your yield each year. Garlic is one of my favorites because it's resilient. You plant it, mulch it, and mostly forget about it until harvest. For best results, use domestic garlic, since imported bulbs often have roots removed and they won't sprout well. I'll drop a link to trusted seed garlic sources since they sell out quickly. After harvest, cure bulbs for 2 to 3 weeks, then store in a cool, dry place for 6 months or more. You can also dehydrate, preserve in vinegar, or freeze-dry garlic for years of storage. Here's a takeaway. The key is to plant what grows best in your area, what is actually available, and what your family's going to eat. If you're unsure about what to plant, visit your local nursery and they'll be happy to help you out. Planting now means fresh food for your table as produce prices rise, preserve harvest for your pantry, and greater food security in the months ahead. Before I conclude, I would like to share one painful lesson I learned the hard way this summer: the importance of consistent watering. I did not complete the installation of the irrigation system this summer, which resulted in the plants experiencing stress on the hottest days. For fall, I've made irrigation a top priority. Proper watering is crucial in the heat, and even with irrigation in place, I'm still going to need a supplement during the hottest periods. If you found this video helpful, check out our Ultimate Vegetable Grow Guide video with a free download and our 25 plants you can forage in nature, which I'll link to below and on the side of the screen here. As always, stay safe out there.